Hi guys, my name is Matt Hunter and I'm a coach here at Tranmere Rovers Football Club. Today we're going to be going through the V-turn. There are a few variations of the V-turn and we're going to go through them all in these little videos now. So the first one, ball's going to start on my right hand side and I'm going to drag the ball back with my left foot using the sole of my foot. So dragging it back and then open my body with the turn of the foot so it's side on and pass the ball out just like that. Okay? On ball on the right side, drag back, flick out. And then do the exact same, but use the other foot. So ball now is on the left hand side, drag back with the right, out with the right. Now I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Ball again on my right hand side. I'm going to drag the ball back with my left foot and then flick it with the outside of my foot. Then when the ball's on the left hand side, use my right foot, drag the ball back and flick it out like that, okay? Now we're going to drag it back with the opposite foot, so the ball's on my right side, I'm going to drag it back with the left and pass it with my right. Drag back with my right, pass it with my left. Drag back with my left, pass it with my right, and again, try and get yourself into a bit of a rhythm. All you need now, I've got two cones in front of me. I'm going to imagine they're defenders, as in a real game. Out here in a green space, could be in your garden or in a park. Just going to approach the cones and then just use the different variations of the V-turn that we've already done and test yourself, see how many of the different ones you can do. Just going to dribble forward, drag back my left and out with the left foot there again. Out, drag back, out with the right foot. Might be drag back and with the same foot. Drag back and keep going. So now we're going to imagine the defenders really are there and I'm going to use a real burst of pace after I've got past that cone. Okay, so drag back, outside the foot and go. Okay, so we've just worked on the V-turn outside. It's a great little trick for manipulating the ball, getting past the defender, using a little bit of disguise to help you get past the defender as well. Make sure when you're running and doing the long distances with your cones, make sure you really exaggerate that burst of pace after you do the trick, because then that is a bit more game realistic and puts you, if you're imagining, onto the playing field. Today we're going to be going through the L-turn. So what we're going to do, the ball is on my right hand side using my right foot. I'm going to drag the ball back with my right and flick it out behind my legs in an L-shaped motion. So you're going back and across. Back my right, out the left. Then you're going to get it on your left hand side and do the exact same thing. So back with your left and out with your left. Back with your right, out with your right. Back in front of you. Back with your left, back with your left. And then into a good little motion. Good little rhythm. Get the ball back in front of you. On your toes constantly. Moving the ball. Just going to drag the ball back with my arm. And then maybe a bit of an outside hook. Drag back. Inside hook. Drag back. Outside hook again. Okay, so get familiar with that motion and get familiar with adding another little turn after it to make it a bit more game-like as well, and really exaggerate those hooks or those turns that you're doing. Now that we're really familiar with the L-turn, we've done it just in a standing motion with our right foot and our left foot. We've done it adding a little inside or an outside hook afterwards just to make it a bit more game realistic and add a little something extra into the L-turn. I'm going to just add on to that now a little bit more. So I'm going to do an L-turn, do a little drag back, and then I'm going to do another little hook afterwards just to keep me moving and keep me guessing. And after that hook at the end, I'm going to put in a real burst of pace as if I'm taking away the opposition defender with me. So ball on my right hand side, drag back in an L-shaped motion, cross my body, and then outside the hook, and then take it forward. Okay, back, and then maybe do it with your left foot this time. So L-shape, drag it back, and then go again. The last thing that we're going to work on with the L-turn, you'll see a lot in a match when you're watching a lot of games live in the stadium or on TV. We're going to practice the L-turn with the two cones either side of me. I'm going to run up towards it, do an L-turn in that shape motion, and then flick it away with my other foot, my standing foot, using the outside of that foot to really push away with the ball and getting away from the opposition. So I'm going to run towards this cone, L-shape motion, flick with the outside. L-shape motion, flick with the other side. So we've just gone through the L-turn in a few different details, a few different scenarios, starting off with at our standing feet and then incorporating a few other moves into it, the inside hook, the outside hook, and making it a bit more game realistic. It's a great turn for disguise, for getting defenders off balance and really exploiting that gap then in the opposition. Once you're familiar with it, try and challenge yourself. I know that we did it in just an L-shaped movement, but try and maybe even get it in a U-shape, so you've got your right leg bringing the ball round, and then keep bringing the ball round, so then you have the ball in front of your left foot. Just little things like that. Adding in little more tricks and skills after you've done the L-turn, and using cones as imaginary defenders to create those game scenarios and test yourself, so that when you're doing them now, they'll feel a lot more comfortable and natural when you're doing them out on the pitch. Today we're going to be working on toe taps. The toe taps are a simple little skill or a simple little movement manipulation to get you on your toes, just to keep you moving and get you started before you go and do something a bit more advanced out on the fields. Okay, so the ball, I'm going to position it in front of my two legs here, and all we're going to do, we're going to start by just putting one toe and one foot on alternately like that, so just going like that. Then when you're comfortable doing that, simply start to up the pace. You don't want the ball moving too much, you want the light touches on the ball with your head up and get into a rhythm like this. Now challenge yourself that little bit more and start to move the ball further forward a little bit as you're going, and then again coming back with the ball. So I put these cones down just as a little bit of a guidance and just a little bit more of a challenge for yourself. You're going to work on a bit of side to side. So just ball in the middle, touching the ball as you go, and then slowly start to move the ball backwards and again forwards, and then challenge yourself with a bit of side to side. So then we're going side to side, all the way to the other side, and then back to the middle. Challenge yourself to see how quickly you can do that, doing the little motion, but keeping the ball under control is the most important thing. Don't sacrifice your control of the ball for your speed and your time and trying to do it as quickly as you can. Well done for doing all of that so far. I hope you're now moving nicely with the ball. Just a little bit of fun at the end. I think we've seen Neymar do this a couple of times when he's showing off in front of crowds and he's having a bit of fun. So simple toe taps, but we're going to add a little bit of a change into it. So you're going to go right foot, left foot, then switch over. So your right foot's coming in behind you, then back with your left, right, and then again switching over.
So we've just been working on our toe taps outside on the playing field. Toe taps are really good just to keep them moving, getting touches on the ball. You're not necessarily something you might be doing in a real life game, but just gets you familiar with the ball and gets you moving before you start to go to something else in the practice. As we said outside, using the sole of your foot is great for disguise. If you're doing that you see the amount of professional players that use the sole nowadays, the easy way that they're able to manipulate the ball and trick the opposition in which way they go. See how many of those toe taps you can do stationary, see how many you can do going in different directions, maybe have someone shouting a different colour of a cone when you're going across, just to make it a little bit more tricky, keeping your head up when you can.
Today we're going to be working on side to side movement. Start by going through the side to side in just a basic motion, just standing still and getting used to that movement and getting familiar with that. So ball in front of you in between your legs, and just with your right foot knock it across with your left foot, knock it across with your right, with your left, and try and just get familiar with the ball. Don't go at any sort of speed, just keep going. When you do get familiar with that, that's when you start to pick up the pace a little bit. So on your toes, like we have done in the past with the toe taps, side to side, and just going along like that. Then try and add a little bit of movement to that. So I'm just going to I'm imagining this, we've got the cut of the grass here, just a little channel, going to go up and down, just going side to side. So getting a bit of movement and starting to get you going. So just going along, side to side. You can see with this, the ball isn't going exactly across like this, it's more going at an angle. As you're going forward, get to a certain point, imagine a little area in your mind, and then as soon as you get there, try and go backwards a little bit as well. That's a little bit tougher. Keeps your hand-eye coordination going, keeps you on your toes, works your ABCs, your agility, your balance and your coordination. So get into that rhythm and keep going. So we're going forward, side to side, imagine a little area, and then we're going to stop and go back. now I've got two cones either side of me. I've got a blue cone here to my left and a white cone here to my right. So all I'm going to do side to sides in the middle, and then just thinking myself, I might do, say, from now 5 side to side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then sprint to the blue cone, back in the side to side motion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the white cone. Mix it up a little bit, use the outside of your foot to shift it one way, use the outside of your left foot to shift it one way, use the inside of your foot, mix it up as much as you can, think in your mind, left, right, or blue, white, mix it up every time, or get someone, get a mate, get your mum or your dad, and get them to shout left, right, blue, white, gets you thinking as well. So whilst you're working on the skill, going along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The side to side movement, similar to the toe taps that we've already done previously. A good little just movement of the ball manipulation just to get you warmed up. We did it in a stationary position in one area, and then we took it moving forwards and moving backwards. Whilst you're moving the ball forwards and backwards, going side to side, it really helps with your 3 ABC, the ABCs that we mentioned on the video before. So your agility, your balance, which is key when you're doing it, especially when you're going backwards, and your coordination to move the ball at a bit of an angle when you're moving, in a straight line when you're in front of you, but then at a bit of an angle when you're moving forwards and moving backwards. So those ABCs are worked on, gets you moving, gets you warm, and gets you prepared to then go out and onto the field and do another practice. Alternate, challenge yourself, do the toe taps, maybe do some toe taps, do some side to side, mix it up a little bit. We then did the side to side with the little shift to one side or the other, using cones and the colours. I'd say it's really, really good to have not just the cones, but different colour cones as well, because if you've got someone, a friend or a family member there to shout out the colour of the cone, it gets you thinking even more. You've got to think which ones was blue on the left, was on the right, and start thinking about that as well. And all of this gets your mind ticking over, and it helps when you're playing a game of football as well. It really is key for your mind and your mental well-being. We've gone through a few videos over the past few videos on various little tricks and turns, the L turn, the V turn, rolling the ball with the sole of your foot, toe tap, side to sides, etc. So we're just going to put that all into a little bit of practice in some simple triangle and square combinations. So get yourselves out there, get some cones, throw them down, and get practicing the turns that we've done. And here's a few examples of that in action. So that's a compilation of the various practices, tricks and turns that we've done over the past few videos, all in one, going around in the triangle and square shape movements, just to get some rhythm into your practice, mixing it up a bit. So going into a V turn, using different parts of the foot, the outside of the foot, the inside, to an L turn, to the toe taps, to the little Neymar dance, to the side to side, mix it up a bit. The more you do that, the more natural it will start to feel, and the more you can challenge yourself when you're doing it in those sort of situations. The more natural it will then become during a game, which is what we're doing all of this for the game-like situations.